Hello there, it's Heidi Sawyer. Welcome to this video series on understanding yourself through the life codes and also other people. So to begin with, we need to have a look at who you are so you have a better understanding of you as an intuitive sensitive person. So primarily as an intuitive sensitive, you are a very creative individual. You may not think so initially, but you are generally over and above the average person. You also have a very strong imagination. Again, this may be something that's so normal to you, you don't really particularly notice it as being anything that's particularly different to other people. But perhaps in your early years, you were told off at school for daydreaming, staring out the window, that kind of thing. That's very indicative of an intuitive sensitive and their strong imagination. As far as any kind of meditation process is concerned, it may take you a little bit of time to get used to the visual aspect, but you will do over a comparatively short amount of time. If you're a very visual person, you find that very easy. If you're not so visual, you'll still have the strong imaginary perception through your senses. Okay, so a strong feeling body. You have primarily a curious mind. If you didn't have a curious mind, you wouldn't be sat where you are now watching me give you this presentation. You're also termed as someone who's very hardworking. Okay, you solve problems, and often you are solving other people's problems. They're not necessarily looking at your problems. In fact, you tend to go onto a back burner, but you're extremely good at solving the lives of other people. You will also find that you often are busy minding your own business, and people come up to you and tell you their life story, or they tell you things that they've never told anybody else. Okay, you could be minding your own business, sitting on a bus, sitting on a train, reading a book, and then suddenly someone sits next to you and tells you their entire life history. This is a usual process of an intuitive sensitive. There is something about you, it is literally stamped on your head. You also have what's termed as a very compassionate nature, so you do feel for other people. That's something that's very usual as an intuitive sensitive. You have a depth of understanding and you have a depth of feeling, which is sometimes something that's quite a burden for you, and other occasions it's something that's extremely endearing as far as your nature is concerned. But most importantly, you are intuitive, you are naturally intuitive, you are spiritual, so you're a very spiritual person in terms of depth, and you care. Okay, so your primary focus is that you do care. But, there is a big but, your strong aesthetic awareness has, over a period of time, led you to a position of overwhelm. You do get overwhelmed, and that can happen quite easily. Your desire for the truth isn't always accepted by other people. Okay, so your particular nature, your intuitive nature, is very drawn towards things that are the truth. So that increases as your sensitivity increases. So as your intuitive nature increases, you will find that your desire to move towards your own truth and move away from other people's environments that are perhaps not so truthful gets stronger and stronger. It almost becomes painful that you want to change that. So how does that manifest? You will find that you're overzealous, solar plexus region, so this is here, hopefully you can see that. This overzealous solar plexus region gives you very intense sensations. So you will be walking past someone on the street, as an example, or you may be working in, let's say you work in an office environment, there's a lot of people. Your solar plexus is busy doing a dance all day. Why? It's because you feel those sensations not only of your own, but very strongly of those of other people. So other people therefore impact you in a very strong way. Okay, so other people's thoughts, feelings and emotions overcrowd quite often your own. So how does that manifest in your life? You will find that your energy is often sapped, and you will, on occasion, become quite frightened almost by other people's projections into your what is your soft-centered world. You may throw up a wall of protection, so to speak, but inside you have a very soft-centered world that is very much a feeling world, that's very empathetic, and feels things in such a powerful way that other people's projections can almost physically knock you out, so to speak. So it can get to a level where it's so intensified that it makes you very wary. It sets up trust issues. So you find yourself going from a very trusting person to a very distrusting person, and you become hypervigilant to your internal stimuli. Okay, so you will find that everything in your internal world quite often gets poked at, or it's something that that's become so normal for you in terms of what your feelings are, that it's you've got used to it to the extent that perhaps you even try to switch it off. Okay, so to give you as an example of your hypervigilant nature in terms of your internal stimuli, I'll use this as an example. If you were to go to a restaurant, okay, as an intuitive sensitive person, you'll go into a restaurant, you'll look for a table, or you'll hope that you'll be directed towards a table that is not with your back to the door. You will always position yourself generally where you can see people coming in and out of the door, and you know where the door is, and you like to be pretty close or have easy access to the exit. Long tables where you have to sit in the middle is your idea of hell, because you end up with not only the feelings of the people next to you, but the feelings of the people opposite you. So you will find that the end of the table, if you're going to an event where there's a lot of people, the end of the table, sitting on the end of the table, is your greatest option, as in the place that you particularly want to sit, and you'll use it as an excuse. Oh, I might need to get up and go to the loo, that kind of thing, for the simple reason that without necessarily 100% realising it, your internal world is overstimulated at this thought of people sitting down. You can feel their emotions, you can feel their nervousness, you can feel the fact that all kinds of things that maybe they're not actually vocalising but still feeling are coming up, and they are processing through your body. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at is some of the foundations of the problems of the intuitive sensitive in terms of your right brain dominance. Okay, so as an intuitive sensitive, in terms of right brain dominance, you are defined as someone who often sacrifices themselves, in terms that you have a self-sacrificing makeup. Generally, that's who you are, foundation. You have a highly empathetic nature. This is a right brain temperament, but especially in terms of the intuitive sensitive individual, which is what you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. Okay. So you also feel the psychic pain of other people intensely. I know I've just explained that a little bit, but I'm reiterating the point because it is a major thing as far as your world as the intuitive sensitive. It does hold you up. You're also highly motivated to alleviate and prevent that. Okay, so even though you feel that psychic pain, rather than just allowing it to happen and observing it, you find that you are very driven to somehow alleviating it or solving it for other people. Okay, so you're putting their needs ahead of your own. So within that, you also have an over responsibility for other people. So you develop a responsibility where you take care of everybody else and often forget about yourself. okay? Or you wait until the point that you get resentful of the fact that you're having to take responsibility for everybody else. But more importantly, you will have, and this is what happens for a lot of intuitive sensitives, and definitely in terms of the right brain dominant individual, generally, you have a history of emotional deprivation. Okay, so what does that mean? You're putting the needs of others before your own, and you do that on a regular basis. If you're not doing it right now, it has definitely been your history. Okay, therefore, when you always put the needs of other people first, yours are never met because people don't notice. Or what happens is that you have a never enough, what's called a never enough level of emotional deprivation. So what does that mean? It means that no matter how much self-sacrificing you do, it's not enough. Okay, it's not enough to alleviate this deep feeling of guilt that you seem to find trots around with you. You haven't actually anything to feel guilty for, but this feeling of guilt seems to trot around with you. Okay, and this is due to the emotional deprivation that you experience, as in you're busy meeting everybody else's needs, and no one seems to take any notice of yours, or it's limited, or you allow for it to be limited. Okay, so how does that alter? Well, this is why you're looking at this video series, okay, this free video series. This is to help you. The life codes, especially mixed with elements of clairvoyance, and before going into that too deeply, just to clarify what clairvoyance means, I'm not talking about anything that's looking over crystal balls. I'm talking about using properly your natural intuitive senses, because as an intuitive sensitive, as a highly sensitive person, right brain dominant person, you will find that you do have heightened intuitive skills that are so natural to you that you probably don't even notice. Okay, but perhaps you do notice in that other people describe you as spooky. So they will say that you're spookily accurate about things, or you seem to know things, just know them naturally, which you would term as common sense, but to other people, they don't see it as common sense. Okay, so the life codes, especially mixed with clairvoyance, helps you to heal that component of emotional deprivation. So it helps you to understand your own needs, as well as satisfying that inner drive that you have to take care of everybody else. Or you may even got to the point now where you're so drained of it that you haven't got anything left to give, either physically or emotionally. Lots of intuitive sensitives at some point or another have suffered some kind of fatigue. Some have even taken it into a level of chronic fatigue or ME type symptoms. Okay, this is all part of the intuitive sensitive process. Not everybody has that, but it's very common as far as people like you and I are concerned. Okay, so through a profound understanding of who you are, your uniqueness, the life codes help you to heal that component that's lost. Okay, or not so much lost as in that you don't properly look after right now. Okay, so this is done through the development of your natural intuitive skills. You have them, they are there, and instead of trying to get rid of them or ignore them or dampen it or try and push them away in terms of your sensitivity as far as other people's feelings are concerned, and absorbing them through your system, and thinking that you have to go into a position of withdrawal in order to cope with that. This is about adjusting it to a level where you can feel and be who you are, but it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice yourself or your energy. Okay, so the life codes help you to have a level of understanding as far as that's concerned. This is the foundation of them, and as we go through this video series, I'll give you a little bit more of connection as far as this is concerned, but this gives you a little bit of a picture of it, and if you're looking at it right now and thinking, what the hell is that thing behind her? This is what we will be referring to through this free series. Okay, so this is without feeling there is something wrong with you. Okay, because as an intuitive sensitive, because you feel quite different to other people, as in that heightened sensitivity, and other people tend to notice that you have a strong sensitivity to your environment and definitely to your external stimuli, that instead of it feeling like that you're in a position where it's disabling, this is about it being enriching and empowering. Okay, so this is about you developing a confidence in who you are in terms of your intuitive skills. And again, I'm not talking about anything that's too far removed from who you naturally are. What we're talking about is deepening the experience of who you are. This is definitely away from any kind of woo-woo connotations. So if you think, oh, I know I'm intuitive, but it's something that I kind of keep to one side, I don't like to explore that too much in case I get into areas that are uncomfortable or feel too woo-woo as far as I'm concerned. So sensitives have a never-ending strong inner drive. So there is a part of you that has a very strong inner drive that is not going to ever disappear. It hasn't disappeared throughout your life, and if anything, it's getting stronger. Okay, so why do you have this drive? What is it about? All true intuitive sensitives have a deep curiosity. Okay, and that deep curiosity is to understand the true nature of life. What it's all about. What am I here for? What is it? What is life about? You have these deeper questions, even if they're not things that you go around asking all the time, but it's a deep feeling inside. You want to connect beyond the basics of life. It's important to you to feel that you need to connect beyond what is just the same everyday kind of thing. You need to have some kind of connection, and it's a much deeper connection than perhaps you've presently experienced in your life. Okay, because you feel at some level you are different, and that different feels that you haven't found a feeling of home. You may have a feeling that you want to go home, but you don't know what home means. It's just a funny feeling that you have, that no one in your particular environment understands or can empathize at any level with your depth of feeling sometimes. Okay, you want to, as an intuitive sensitive, you want to share your spiritual understanding with others. Okay, so when you do have an understanding of something that's deeper, a deeper meaning in life, you want to share it. But you want to be able to do that without the overwhelm. Okay, so you want to be able to explore this part of your inner world without that experience of overwhelm or feeling that you're going to be further burdened by any other thoughts, feelings or emotions. Depth and connection is very important to you. Okay, so how does this process unfold? Well, understanding the life codes is a simple method. Okay, it's a simple method of deep connection with yourself. Before you can really get to a place where you don't feel the overwhelm as far as other people are concerned, that you can enjoy your intuitive nature and utilize it in the world, and utilize your your richness of experience. You see things, you feel things with much more depth than other people. Perhaps currently you see it as something that you want to get rid of, and maybe even you've worked hard to get rid of it, and you've now taken yourself to a numb place because feeling was too much of an experience. Okay, but you'll have a deep need at some level to go back to that experience of the deep connection with yourself, because with that deep connection with yourself comes that deep connection, true connection, as far as other people are concerned. You're also very interested in looking at how the universe works. Okay, so going into that depth of understanding, revealing how the universe works, the life codes is definitely a point of access to that, your understanding of that information. It is also about you coming to a place of profound inner development. Profound inner development, I'm talking profound depths of connection within yourself, and therefore a depth of connection with an understanding of how everything fits together and how your intuitive senses fit together. So, why are you doing this? This is to access your deep experience of consciousness. Okay, so whatever is your experiences to the deep connections in your variations as far as what you understand as consciousness, and to experience happy, soulful connections with other people. Currently as a sensitive, highly sensitive individual, you maybe have switched off some of those as possibilities because you've gotten to that place of overwhelm. But in giving yourself that connection back, in terms of having a little bit further understanding of how this operates and how this works for you, you can, and I'm saying that because I'm not going to give you anything that I haven't done myself and I haven't worked through. If you're talking about your own experiences, even if you've got to this stage and thinking, but Heidi, you don't understand me, you don't understand my world, you don't understand all of those things that have happened as far as my hurt, my feelings, my this and that I've experienced through my life, you don't understand. Believe me, I do. Okay? And I do because I am an extreme high sensitive. I have experienced pretty much all of what you have experienced and more. And what I'm saying to you is that this, looking at this, giving yourself a depth of connection as far as this is concerned, will give you an extraordinary experience as to your own life. Okay, extraordinary as in that your high sensitivity becomes something that you absolutely adore, rather than you see it as this nasty burden. Okay, you will see it as this miraculous gift of understanding in this physical world. Okay, you will then find that it's a lovely thing rather than something that you do in terms of trying to always dampen down or cope in your environment. Okay, so where does it take you? It absolutely takes you to the experience of happy, definitely soulful connections with others. So, having a little look at what your sense of life purpose is. Okay, so many sensitives have experienced challenge at some level in their life. Okay, definitely as an intuitive sensitive, you will have had some aspect of challenge because your intuition develops through that challenge. So this was your waking up point, okay, from sleepwalking through life. So that area of challenge would have been your waking up point. What does that waking up point mean? It means that you have woken you have awoken rather, to the richness of the internal world. So your experience of your world and the internal world is going deeper. It's going much deeper. So as an intuitive, sensitive individual, your purpose in life is completely to understand yourself, okay? To the point where you can feel your soul in terms of your soul understanding, connecting with your personality. Now that is an area that's initially a little bit confusing, but believe me, over this process you'll have a deeper understanding of what your soulful connection is, so what it feels as your soul energy, and what your personality is. So your personality is your everyday world, and your soul is that deeper, inner, knowing experience that you perhaps have flashes of, but you don't quite at this moment in time trust. So what happens is through your sense of life purpose and deepening that, you experience that soulful connection, okay, between your everyday aspect, so your personality self that operates in the physical world, and that deeper understanding of who you are. So what happens over a period of time is your purpose is to get the two working as one. So that's the personality and the soul experience working together rather than separately. Okay, so what tends to happen as part of your awakening process, you think that you're supposed to beat out the personality and allow this deeper, more meaningful aspect of yourself to come forward. That's not life. Life means that you have to operate in the physical world, and therefore you need the two working together. So your everyday world working beautifully with the deeper spiritual aspect of yourself. So what does this lead to? It leads to the experience of the enlightened self. Okay, so the marrying of the soulful energy with the personality means that you get to experience yourself in this physical world as the enlightened person you are. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that you're calm, so this calmness comes into the equation. You're free of stress, because let's face it, all sensitives, high sensitives, definitely intuitive sensitives, go through this experience of having this stressed inner world. Quite often you have, most intuitive sensitives, definitely the ones that I meet, never really properly know how to relax. Okay, something is always on alert. It's always aware of its environment. Your nervous system is very sparky. Okay, it's not to say that you have a lot of anxiety or all that kind of thing. It just means that you are very aware. You notice things much sooner than other people do. Okay, so in terms of your life purpose, in terms of the connection between the soul and the personality, it leads to a calmness, okay, free of stress, and that you're open to feeling instead of trying to restrict it, okay, because now you've got to this stage where you will be trying to, at some level, restrict your ability to feel, okay. So the basis of true clairvoyant skill is the harmonizing of your inner world. Okay, so in order for that true intuitive nature to really come to the fore, it's not something that's hocus pocus, it's something that is a deep level of intuitive connection. Okay, so in order for that to come, it's about harmonizing your inner world. It's not about going to get something, it's already there. It's about bringing it out. Okay, clairvoyance, and I'm going to say this categorically, it is not a party trick. Okay, this is not about telling people at parties what colour underwear they're wearing, in that kind of stuff. Clairvoyance is not a party trick. Okay, it is described in some texts as the first sense. Yes, the first sense, rather than the sixth. Okay, it is the first sense in that it is a core aspect of who we are as human beings. You are in the process of reconnecting with your deepest wisdom. Okay, if you've got this far of listening to me babbling on, then you are now getting to this stage where you're wanting that deeper sense of connection, okay, with yourself, and therefore automatically when you have that, it comes as far as other people are concerned. But you're going into this stage of connecting with deep wisdom. Showing you through the life codes is the quick step, okay? It's the quick processing, a step to processing your deep awakening. So in you understanding this, rather than giving you a little snippet of it, it gives you a wider picture and a wider experience of your deep awakening process. Okay, so free, as in the free video, so in your free video series in part 2, so in the next video you're going to see one of the key stages of deep development. So I'm going to start to open this up for you to give you an understanding, a key stage of the deep opening process. You will also discover your point of transformation. Okay, so discover the point of it and where yours is. And I'll also show you this line. Okay, this is called the consciousness line. I'll show you an understanding of this so that you have a deeper understanding of yourself. This session has obviously been about giving you the foundations of that. Next session is about going into it to give you an idea of how that works. Okay, so also with that, I'm going to give you, in video 2, you will also receive a meditation process. Okay, so this is it's a free meditation process, which is called climbing the ladder to the ultimate, which is a free meditation, which is taking you through the energy of here into the energy of here. So the energy of you as the physical self, as the personality, deep into the experience of the whole self. So this meditation is free with video 2, so you will get that in the next session. Okay, so obviously I'll start to take you through this experience. So that's coming into your inbox. Okay, so you will see it. It will come via email to you. Or obviously what you do, it's quite clear what you need to do. So if you want to post your questions or your comments on this particular session, so if there's anything that has brought up a question in your mind, thinking, oh, well, what about that, Heidi? You haven't said anything about that. Then put your questions in, and I will happily have a look and answer them for you. Okay, and do my best to answer as many as I can. So spread the message further than I can. Okay, so if what I've said has resonated strongly as far as you're concerned, or that you feel that there are other people who are in your environment that you can think, okay, do you know what? I think they are sensitive. I think that's what they are, and they haven't got an understanding of themselves, and they would find that extremely helpful. Absolutely, pass it on. Pass it on, and give them an experience of understanding themselves. Certainly, when I first started in this particular arena many years ago, I would have loved to have received this information. This is why I'm giving it. I would have loved to have received it, because it would have given me an instant understanding as to the foundations of who I am. So this is the intention. If it resonates with you and you found it very helpful, please do pass it on. How do you do that? Facebook, of course. Like it, share it, whatever you need to do in order to help others and pass it on. So invite others to this free video series, Sensitives. other sensitives to this free video series. There's 3 videos, and of course just pop your email address in, or your email address in, and gives you access to the series. Okay, or you can go to the web address on screen, which is heidisawyer.com/LC, and you can gain access to the next set of videos.